Yeah, that's not good. Oh, come on. Trying to get through that. Not. Amy! Hey, there you go. Before I went on. Oh, shit. Well, I think this is what's said. Chugga chugga. What? Is that going?
Yeah.
I think it's going. You say that. It's just not pulling very hard.
It's crackling, though.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see if it
Crack
burns
is
out or
crackling.
not. Yeah. Here you go.
We're back.
I didn't know we were doing that.
What do you got to pop, Doug?
He popped early.
I already popped it earlier.
So
You came
for all
a little
my hair
early?
you got, huh?
It happens.
Does that happen often?
Depends.
Funny.
Hilarious. Y'all ready to meet my best friend, Dougie Fresh?
Back by the fire.
How's it going?
How long have we known each other, Doug?
I think you were still in high school when I first came out.
Pretty sure.
So, and got my first bow from you because Lumpy's the one that hooked us up. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on close. Put your lips on it.
Got to make sweet love to the mic.
Put your
Gosh,
lips on it.
see
Grab the
that.
bottom of it
Yeah.
and fondle
I know.
it. Stay close, yeah.
You're embarrassing me.
Jeez, Tim.
I don't usually do this in public.
Yeah.
No, I came out and got my first bow from you when I was first up there at Car Toys. So
Yeah.
when I was, because I'm 6 years older than you? 52.
No, at 8.
8.
Yeah, I'm 44.
Right, because I was 26 or something.
It went out. I knew it was
Uh-oh.
gonna. Had a bad feeling.
I'll work on it. You guys keep talking.
Oh, there's more paper underneath there if you need. So,
Yeah, I came out and got my first bow, and yeah, it just kind of went from there.
yeah, you were really into long distance rifle at a young age, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, growing up on the farm, I always was shooting something and stuff, and out there kind of realized that, pistol really didn't cut it. So AR was good for, coyotes and stuff, but other than that, gosh, I got my first 22-250 when I was probably like 19, and that's kind of where it progressed. So from there, it got me hooked, something that would shoot out there 500 yards. So,
Yeah.
and with good optics on it, of course. So, and then went from there. And when I was in my early 20s, I got a tactical 308. I thought I was Sniper Chuck out there, shooting rocks and stuff. And,
Close that when it's going, or it's gonna smoke you out. There you go. That might actually do it. But... Yeah. So, and then you went from that 308 to a 300, didn't you? Was that the next thing you built?
Actually, I had that 308, and then I built a 300 Win Mag, because just 308 was good, out there, 800 to 1,000, and 300 picked up from there a little bit. And laying there on mom and dad's lawn growing up, I could shoot 1,500 yards right off their front lawn. So, it was just epic to be able to lay there and be able to just wing bullets and stuff out there or whatever. And then Dad, helped me set up some hanging targets over the years, and that just kind of one thing led to another from there. And then went from that caliber, those two calibers, shrank them down to a 6 when the 6.5 Creedmoor came out. Went to that, and then now shoot, 6 millimeters, which is what most people do, and it's kind of the name of the game in the PRS community and stuff, or NRL hunter and stuff like that, and flat and fast. Just like archery stuff, So, flatter.
Depends on who you ask.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of people that
Yeah.
think slow and steady wins the race in that one. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Just like there's a whole lot of people think 30-06 the best hunting.
Well, yeah, I think the big thing with the 6 millimeter is just the recoil factor. It's light recoil. Sure. Yes, depending on the variant, you don't get a lot of barrel, barrel life. But most of the people that play the game, it's kind of like racing cars. You're going to be buying tires, plain and simple. So it's just part of the game.
Sure.
Shoot a lot of arrows. What you going to be buying? A lot of arrows.
Sure.
So, so it's the name of the game. You're going to go through barrels, but just the pleasure to shoot them. I mean, you can go out and shoot 100 rounds a day, and it's just fun.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, it's a hoot.
Yeah.
So
originally, when we first met, you came and bought a bow from me, and then you were working at Car Toys at the time, right?
I was, yes.
You did. You at a young age, you got really into car stereo, if I remember correct, right?
I did. I was into that. What kid didn't want a loud stereo? And I don't know
In that era, yeah.
and I remember Dad back in the day always saying, you're paying way too much. There's such a markup on it. No, there's not, Dad. I got a good deal. And then you start working there, and you're like, oh, yeah, there's a little markup on it. But yeah, I got into that and just loved, sound, music, things like that on top of it. And
You made some pretty impressive setups, some competition stuff, didn't you?
yeah, I got the privilege to, build some really cool stuff. Had one car that had like a magazine shot of the trunk, back in the day, and car sound and security, which was cool. I think it's over there in the shop.
Yeah,
I found it
remember
in
you
one of my
showing that to
tubs.
me once. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I got to say, for what we did, slinging car audio, it was good money and we had fun.
Heck
So,
yeah.
that was part of it. And that's why I did it for so long. But then I got to say, car audio it was for a young person. So it wasn't as you get older and get all crippled up. Yeah.
Well, you have some lifelong back issues that kind of pushed you out of that to
I
begin
do.
with, didn't you?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how that happened.
That was actually a farming accident when I was 17 years old. We were, grew up on a farm. A lot of times the neighbors, we would go, one neighbor kid would come help us for a week. I'd go help them for a week. It was some of the guys that I started nursery school with. And, out in the rolling hills of the Palouse, we just, we'd go down one hill, going fast, coast the other up.
Sure.
Well, one of my good friends, he just didn't know the fields all that well, and we got going about 70, and there was 3 guys up front, 3 of us in the back, and we went off about a 15-foot like corner sod bank drop off doing 70 miles an hour. And I mean, us 3 in the back were hanging on, sitting there with the legs crossed, and just a gravity came out from under me, and I was the one that got the brunt end of it. The pickup hit, and I came down on it, and it shattered some vertebrae, crushed some discs. So yes, I have 5 fused vertebrae and 4 missing discs.
Yeah.
That they can't put back.
Yeah, there's grenade.
Yeah,
Gone.
and they wouldn't even give them to me either after the surgery. I was like, I want
rip,
my
man.
shit back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, I have a lot of steel and hardware. They call them Harrington rods back there. But that's kind of what ended my career in the car audio was all the bending over and twisting for hours in a trunk just caught up with me over the years.
And you
So.
did a long time. You did like 20 years, didn't you? Damn near?
Yeah, about a 14-year full stretch at Car Toys, and then 18 years total. I left once or twice here, and just to see if the grass was greener. And I just loved it. It was fun, and the people I worked with is what I enjoyed. So
Yeah.
that's what kept me there. That, and I had a great regional manager. It was good company. So it just was.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that was the heyday too.
it was, back in the early 90s and late 90s. I mean, it was crazy the amount. Someone would come in with a $1,500 1980 Monte Carlo and be like, I got 5 G's to put in this thing. And it's like, sweet. This thing's going to beat.
It's going to sound awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I had some of
Every
those friends in
dirt-
high school.
I was one
Yeah.
of those. That's where our original interest came,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, car, you're either into car audio or you're not, But back in the day, look at what cars come with these days.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason why a lot of people, and nowadays, geez, just to put a CD player in a normal pickup costs, $300 just for the damn module to convert everything. So
Yeah, I remember putting a unit in Lena's Audi, and the freaking module and everything that was with it was like $300 just for the stupid module.
Yeah.
So it could talk because there's so many things that they're trying to put through the stereo.
CAN
anymore.
bus and LAN bus systems. So they all talk to one another. And a lot of the vehicles, where all your stuff's in through your screen and whatnot, it talks to the computer. And if you pull that out, things don't work right.
It don't like it. It don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you bow hunted religiously for quite a while.
I did, I rifle hunted. I started rifle hunting deer. I grew up hunting waterfowl and pheasants since I was like 13. Big varmint hunter. We used to have a lot of ground squirrels, groundhogs, coyotes. No one in my family really hunted. We had a hired man that hunted, and he started dragging me around. And he shot recurve when I was probably like 8, 9 years old. And I remember the first deer I ever saw shot was he shot it like 20 yards with a recurve. It was a doe. And this. Jeez, when I was a long time ago. And it was just like, oh my God, that is so cool. You know what I mean? It ran like 30 yards and it died. And I was like, that was amazing. And anyways, I got older, then I liked guns better. So, I started shooting waterfowl. And then, gosh, I was probably 24 before I started deer hunting, actually. And I rifle hunted just for a couple years. And every morning was on the Saturday, go out, and I knew where the buck was bedded Friday night. So it was like walk over the edge. Oh, there you are. Boom, you're dead. And I was kind of like, well, that wasn't much of a challenge. And then Ron, my buddy, he was the one that said he bow hunted down our way. And I was like, shut the front door. No way. And anyways, like, yeah. So that is how I came to see
And your
you.
way's got some pretty cool country. I haven't spent a ton of time out there, but all that rolling scablands and stuff, like that's kind of not mule deer paradise, but good country for mule deer and really good country for stalking mule deer.
It's totally huntable. And I got to say,
because you can stalk around, you can move through these little rock crevices.
Yep.
There's all this old basalt that's like, it's cool country.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got to say, one of the big things that I liked the best going from the rifle to the bow hunting was I learned so much more about deer because I was on my feet walking instead of flying through the fields in a vehicle, going, I know he's bedded over here. I'll just park back here and walk over it. Oh, there you are. And it was just, learn their patterns, learn, prints, things like that. And, it made me actually go out and like really study them more and stuff. And I will say the first year I bow hunted, it was pretty frustrating. I was ready to chuck that bow about as far as I could throw it. The first big bow, I mean, it was probably like 150-inch mule deer that I drew on the first time. Walked over a rocky bluff, and I mean, they were 10 yards. And I was so nervous. There was no need to range it. They were so close. But I was just like, oh, my God. Look at, and there was 4 of them. And they're all standing there. I drew back and I'm like, I couldn't even get a range. And then my arrow fell out and it was just a disaster. Anyway, I slung a shot and I barely grazed this one. And I was just like, oh my God. And they all ran up. Well, my trainer wife at the time, she was sitting in the vehicle.
What was that term? Trainer wife?
Oh yeah, my first wife.
Yeah.
So
like
trainer wife.
Like your practice
what you
wife?
learn not to marry.
You're practicing for the next wife?
So well, of all things, the deer, they ran like
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
they ran like literally 10 feet from my Suburban at the time.
Oh, jeez.
And it was kind of funny, but I was hooked. I mean, the rush I got off that was it was amazing. So it was cool. So that was kind of my first experience with that. And then I was hooked on bow hunting. So, I mean, there was just no other way to hunt. I was like, you get so close. It was so cool. So, and that's how Josh and I was out here all the time for years on end, man. So, and now I work there.
Yeah, and that's actually
And
it's
then
kind
you
of
decided to
interesting.
stay one day.
Yeah, well, it's kind of an interesting story of how you came to work for me, really.
It is when I finally had so much back issues and stuff, and I had to go to the doctor, and he finally told me that you can't work there no more. And after being there so many years, kind of like, oh God, what am I going to do? So I ended up going back to school, getting retrained by L&I, and in between school and stuff, well, I was out shooting my bow and hanging out at Josh's and drinking espressos.
Almost every day.
Pretty much every day.
Yeah, you were there religiously for a while.
And when I got all done, I was kind of like, okay.
Well, hold on. What else were you doing at that time?
Well, I was working on building a long-range shooting facility. So for years, I'd been, to back up years prior to that, I was putting on long-range matches and stuff and shooting a lot of long-range stuff. And anyway, after the schooling, I mean, that came into effect, which is, yes, full business now. But that's how you started asking me, hey, can you come in and start helping out at the shop?
Well, I remember after you got all your stuff, you were having a hard time kind of finding a job, and I thought you were talking about applying at Sportsman's or something.
I did. I went in and applied, but they just couldn't pay me, what I needed to make and stuff. Yeah. So I knew I could work on my own and do my own thing and make what they were going to pay me. So
sure.
I was like, man, I can't, for what, that minimal hour, I can't spend eight hours of my day here. It's not worth my time.
Sure.
So, and the manager, he's like, well, we can't really do much more about that. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not working here.
Not my spot, yeah.
Yeah, so I did apply to a lot. I mean, I actually went to school for agricultural business, of all things. And I did a lot of drone work, mapping, looking for nitrogen and stuff in the ground. But there just wasn't a real big demand for that up here. Mm-hmm. I did have a good offer with Dow Chemicals back in Kansas, but I wasn't really willing to move. So then I kind of started thinking outside the box. Okay, what can I do? And stuff, and just from hosting matches, and it all just kind of came together, and shooters in the community, everybody kept saying, can we come out and pay you just for a day to shoot here on a non-match day? And that is kind of how Rock Lake Rifle Range started.
Rock Lake Rifle Range.
Oh man, there's not a better range. How far would you have to go to find a better range than yours, honestly?
I mean,
and I know you're not biased, so
to me, I grew up out there, so I just see rolling hills. It's the steel that I provide out in those rolling hills for people to shoot. That's, I think, what's the most iconic. I have 90 pieces of AR 500 out there, from 280 yards out to right at 1,700. Mm-hmm. So to be able to, unless you go on state ground or something like that, no, there's not any public range in Washington or anywhere close where you can go shoot that far. So
yeah, well, nor do they have nearly as much things to shoot at.
As much steel and stuff.
Like how many pieces of steel do you have out there?
90.
That's so much.
And they're sized, and it's like, oof, man, yeah, a lot. And that was a big thing to provide was, when you come to a range, what are you doing? You're shooting steel. So provide a ton of targets. How can you go wrong? So, plus it's a big place. Luckily with the farm and all the ground we have, my brother and I own the place, and so mom and dad are still alive. So he basically leases the farm from them, and then I lease and pay him a lease fee for the range. So, and my brother and I are tight, which is awesome. So it works great. So
how does the model work? Is it a membership model? I forget.
So it is a private membership model, and the whole thing with I never designed it to make it to where that was my sole income. Yep. It was kind of one of those, I wanted to get it going and see how it
passion project or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You're
Can it
exactly
at least
right.
pay for itself, maybe?
And I figured if it didn't work, man, I was going to have the coolest playground for me and my buddies to go shoot, and stuff. So but yeah, it works as a private membership setup, and I do that because, I have a day job,
right?
So that I have to be at. But I have a really cool boss that I can, if I need to tomorrow, he'll give me the day off.
He's pretty flexible.
Yeah, he's pretty flexible, dude.
Yeah.
So, I set it up like that to where everybody does everything online. It's pretty much you get an email receipt. I get the same one. I reach out. We do a safety orientation. You get the gate code, and you can come and go as you please.
That's cool.
It's pretty much written as
still
you're
taking
paying.
members?
What's that?
Are you still taking members?
Yeah, I'm still taking members. It fluctuates a lot. I have a lot of Fairchild guys, and I offer a really heavy discount for MIL, LE, pretty much anybody that holds a GovX card. So, I go from, a lot of people do 10%. I go from $240 a year for an individual to $130 if you got a GovX card, pretty much. So I get a lot of, military guys and stuff because it's just a smoking deal. But a lot of those guys from Fairchild and stuff are only here for a couple years and then they're gone. So, it's kind of like, it goes up and down. So I try to keep it right around that 250 mark. So members, and it works really good. So it's been just real good. And my members are awesome.
I bet.
It's like a month ago, I sent out a message for a work party, and I had like literally 30 freaking people there with buggies and weed eaters, and it was like I had so many people. I wasn't expecting that many. I was expecting like 10, and I was like, holy moly! And we knocked out what would take me 5 days in like literally 3 hours. It was awesome. So the shooting community that we have is amazing. That's what I love. All my members are respectful and stuff, and just really caring. They're just good people.
Can I get my 400-yard archery shot done out there?
You probably could.
We have to go farther than that?
Well, yeah, in steps.
Okay, so you're doing 400 and I'm doing 550?
Yeah, and then I'll do 551.
So you're trying to do...
No.
Okay, so what's the record on an archery shot?
The farthest one I've seen is like 520 something.
On the internet?
Dang.
Yeah. Who made that?
Dudley.
I thought it was like 450.
No, it was 5 and 5. It was over 5.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a smoking shot.
So I'll beat that. No problem.
Okay.
And no offense to Dougie's range, because he would have to close his range to do it. My cousin's got that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's private, so we don't have to worry about that. So
Yeah.
that at some point, if I can figure it out, which I don't think it will be too hard, will be on the agenda. But yeah,
That'd be tight.
Are we going to be able to make a 400 feet per second bow?
I've already done that.
But did you make YouTube video?
No.
Yeah,
you want me
exactly.
to?
Sure. Then did it ever happen?
My cousin's Hit a Carbon Spider Turbo at 95 pounds with a built-in overdraw and like 300 grain arrows, and it went like 415, 418.
Damn.
Like
that's a mule deer hunt machine.
Like tuned and hunted and killed stuff with it.
Well, 400 foot per second bow. That'd just be the sweetest YouTube title. So we got to do it.
All right, I'll do it. No problem. That's easy.
Yeah.
Especially since they have so many bows that are 80 plus pound now. It's not that hard to make something go that fast. I mean, granted, it's hard to tune it, but to get it to go through a chronograph at 400,
I feel sorry for the
Could you tune it?
I have. My cousin's Carbon Spider Turbo.
I thought the tuning limit stopped at 280.
Yeah, this is fixed blades too, because he's an Idaho guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we tuned up 300 grain total weight arrows with 100 grain shuttle T-locks back in the day, and as long as you didn't torque it, dude, that thing drove tacks. It was crazy. I don't know how you'd ever. It's a pain to pull because it was really aggressive cam, and it was 94, 95 pounds.
Yeah, I bet.
And I had to do all the tuning work to it, and then hand it to him and say, "Here you go, shoot it." So I probably shot it more than he did it for a while there. But yeah, no, it could totally be done. But
Doug, so somebody out there is definitely going to be like, "What's Doug's? What's your rig? What's your long range rig?" Break it down.
There's a lot. There's quite a few good custom. There's quite a few good custom actions out there these days. I've been running Defiance actions.
We don't want to know what the good ones are. I want to know what's Doug running when you show up to
So
a tournament.
I run all Defiance. For one,
he'll give you a dirty look.
They're out of Montana, so they're local to us, kind of.
What's the model of the barrel? Just a Defiance barrel?
No, the action. So I buy just like an action. It's got
custom built gun.
And then you buy your barrel, your chassis, your trigger, your muzzle brake that you want and all that. These days, one cool thing that they have to offer is a lot of pre-fit stuff. Most all my stuff was gunsmith, like it was chambered and threaded. So I run Defiance actions. They're deviant tactical action. It's a big, heavy action, all one piece, built-in recoil lug, one built-in 20 MOA rail, indestructible in a way. And then for barrels, I run Proof Research, heavy MTU contour
I've heard
barrels.
good things about Proof, yeah.
Tack driver barrels. I mean, now granted, I ran Benchmark, Bartland, Hawk Hill, ran a lot of barrels. They all shoot good. Proof, I like them.
Carbon barrels or?
I run all stainless steel barrels on my match guns, just because Proof barrels or the carbon ones are so expensive.
Yep.
Great for a hunting gun, but you don't want to be burning through those real fast.
No.
I mean, unless you got deep pockets, then it is what it is. Yeah. But so I do run on my hunting gun a carbon fiber barrel, so it's ultra lightweight and stuff. But my heavy match guns, like my 6 Creedmoors that I run, Defiance actions, Proof barrels, MPA brakes on everything, MPA one-piece scope rings, Night Force Attacker 7 to 35s, Timney Calvin Elite triggers, and XLR chassis. So, and that is what makes up my match guns. And then I got, and they weigh, weight-wise, these things.
20 pounds, right?
Mine are about 18. So, I got a big 7 mag that's built on all Defiance, XLR, all the same stuff, just in bigger mode. It weighs 22 without the weights on it. I can get it up to 26 pounds. But it's like shooting a BB gun. It's just like bang, and nothing happens. You just watch the bullet go patink. So it's fun to shoot, And that's the beauty. That's the thing of all these heavy guns is, you can just shoot them and shoot them and shoot them, and there's no recoil on it. So they're just a pleasure to shoot. And they're accurate. Stupid accurate. Yeah, that's just it. It's kind of like you saying you're setting up your cousin's bow and you hand it to him. All he got to do is shoot it. I can lay the average person down that knows how to get behind a gun and can shoot it halfway, give you the data out to 1,000 yards and probably have you on target, be either first shot or by second or third shot. Now to give you just all my equipment and say, okay, lay down and do it by yourself, that's a little different. So,
for sure.
On that. But no, I love shooting. It's fun. The steel, when you hit it, in the time of flight, when you're shooting out there at a mile, you shoot, you can turn around, almost make a little sandwich, before you get the report back.
And you see the vapor trail?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was funny when I took Josh's big 338 Lapua out, and I think that I weighed that, and that only weighs like 13 and a half pounds, so it was legal for Idaho hunting. And I was
felt a lot heavier than that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah, I bet it does. After
heavy,
about
big.
200 yards into the woods, you're like, Jesus,
This is a bad decision.
But to see trace is one of the coolest things, to watch. And like shooters, if they've never seen it, most like hunters and stuff, just never seen trace. But minute you see bullet trace, it's cool. I mean, it is just cool to watch the trace. One cool thing about trace is when that bullet's up at its apex, which is its point, and is coming down. Usually, if it's in line with the target, it's going to connect with the target. So if you can stay on that, you can literally watch it go up. You'll usually lose it as it's coming down a little bit, but if it's in line with that, it'll usually impact and stuff.
Do you remember the time you saved one of my bear hunts?
Oh yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you had a blown primer down in there and stuff.
Yeah, is that that was rare, right?
That's more common. I see that happen at a match every once in a while. Someone will load something hot or something. They'll blow a primer and it'll go down in the trigger. Then when they close the bolt or something and pull the trigger, all that pressure in there will break something. That would have really ruined your hunt. So
yeah.
But yes, I have seen that. ARs are more common for it, but I've seen bolt guns and stuff.
I haven't had it happen since. It was just one.
It was probably
occurrence.
A fluke.
Yeah.
It could have been a fluke. So
weird deal. For someone listening, basically the primer came out of my bullet, got jammed up somewhere down in the action, right?
It did, yeah. It got up there in front where the action screw is, and so there's a little pocket down there, and it was sitting in there. So when you went to close the bolt, it just thunk and was locking up.
Yeah,
and that's why when you talked to me and you said that it was only closing halfway, I was like, you either got something stuck in there or that bolt. Because I've seen rarely, maybe once or twice in my life, on a factory gun where the front action screw from the factory was a little too long, and sometimes the bolt, the locking lug up there would catch on it. But yeah, when I closed it, and then it was kind of like dink, 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 that little piece come out, and it was like, well, there's your problem.
That was awesome, yeah. Because we were in the middle of a hunt, and I really needed that gun, yeah.
And that's no different than Josh. Anytime I've had a bow issue, I'm like, hey, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, how many of those calls do you get, Josh?
A lot. There's almost always something.
Save me.
Well, when you work on them all the time, or you've worked on them just immense amounts, you can usually get a symptom. I guess it's like a knowledgeable doctor.
Yeah.
You give me a symptom and tell me where it's at on you, and I can usually figure out what it is pretty quick.
How many of those would call them annual clients do you have? Like they come in on August 15th, like Josh.
There's a pretty good amount actually. And that's the negative thing about being able to fix things on a short term.
Pros
After a
and
while,
cons, right?
people take it for granted and start to expect it. And it's like, hey, I've got 50 of these things in here. You got to wait your turn.
Yeah.
That gets tough. Don't wait till August 15th to start trying to fix your stuff. That's bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Like, you should be trying to fix it now. You got 3 months. You do it now. Don't wait. It's bad.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you watch it.
Oh yeah, I watch it. I remember, years ago, I was we were out in the garage.
Just to clarify, Doug runs my online store. So if you're buying something online or you call, there's a good chance he's actually who you're going to talk to. And if you purchase something, the order processing, it was probably done by Doug. So
Doug's got his dirty
just
little
clarify.
mitts
We didn't
on it.
mention that earlier. I've mentioned it on podcasts earlier, but
Yeah.
Doug is my manager of my online store.
He's the cheese.
He is. He is in charge of it, and I try to let go of it and go, do whatever you want, dude, whatever you think.
I try.
So he does. Yeah, well, I've rarely had an employee in my life that cares more. So it makes it really easy for me to just go ahead. Whatever you think's right, do it. I don't care. If you got a problem, let me know, but it's your decisions. Anyway, back to where you were. Sorry.
Just about bows and emergencies and Josh, out in the garage, and it was during hunting season, I think, and I had my bow up on a tall counter and thing, and my Rottweiler jumped up and hit the edge of it and flipped it up, and man, that thing hit the concrete, and I swear it did 3 backflips and then a front gainer before it slammed back down on the concrete again and chipped and broke and bent things, and I was like, oh dear God, what happened? It was like, I knew him well enough at the time, I could text him or call it anyway. He's like, just bring it in, dude.
Just bring it in.
Yeah. It was just like, oh my gosh, what a lifesaver. So anyway, that was my little story of you saving my life back in the day.
Yeah, everybody's had one or two. It's amazing how easily something can go awry, and Usually it's a part failure that you don't have. That's kind of the hard part. If something goes really wrong, there's a good possibility the shop that you're going to doesn't have the part.
Well, and that's why you're such a big advocate for the two-bow system, right? Because
Yeah.
you've seen so much shit.
Yeah, it's nice to have backup equipment. It's nice to have backup parts. My first settling on why you needed two bows was I was taking a bow press, extra set of strings, like paper tuner, target, extra serving material, peep sights, you name it, all this extra crap with me in case something went wrong that I could fix my bow because I had the knowledge and the skill and the ability. But even I won't do that anymore. I'm like, this is dumb. Take two bows or have two bows and take an extra one with you, throw it in a case, keep it in the back. Something goes wrong, just grab the other one and go.
Especially any kind of adventure hunt. Like if you're hunting near home and, you know, you can
Even
maybe...
at that, Tim, I mean,
we
work our entire year to hunt for like 2 weeks.
I feel
in
that.
general.
Yeah.
Most
You're
people
right.
do.
That's true.
Like that's like our passion. That's what we care about. That's what we want to do with our free time. You only get 2 weeks a year. Do you really want to spend a day or two trying to fix your crap? Or just go crap another bow that you've got?
And don't sell the last one or whatever.
Yeah, when it's time to buy a new bow 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, however long it's been, don't get rid of the old one. Get rid of the old one before that. Like even if you have a 10-year-old bow, if it's still tuned,
keep your trainer bow,
keep it.
but not your pre-trainer bow or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Your high school
But
girlfriend.
It's definitely very, very worthwhile to have a second bow. I know there's other options, but I mean, I'd really, really emphasize that when it's time to get a new bow, just keep the old one. You're not going to get that much for it anyway. The trade-in on them's not great. I mean,
Not when it's that old. Yeah.
No, if it's like 3 to 5 years old, it's probably worth a third of what you paid for it. Just bite the bullet and keep it. Keep it in a case. Don't have to shoot it. Just it's functioning. The arrows with it are functioning, and just keep it for an emergency. It's better to have that than to try to fix your current bow for over a day or two if you only have 2 weeks or a week. Some people only have a week. They go hunting. A year.
Doug, you have any war stories from e-commerce behind the scenes?
Oh,
Wait, Doug, you got any hot new orders coming in with that fresh discount code?
I do. I have these ones that say Tim C. I was trying to figure them out. Yeah.
He's like,
That's cool.
Like, did you give him a coupon code? Like,
Yeah,
cool.
I know. I saw it one day and I was like, "Is Timmy doing coupon code?"
Yeah, we just got it
John's
going,
like,
so.
yeah. I was like, okay. I figured it out.
www.puttingmaster.com.
Yeah.
Could you get that out fast enough? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a bunch of those. So
That's cool.
On that,
That's cool. Well, shout out to
I've
those
got
guys.
some interesting customers over the years. So I've had to learn how to find my inner self to
Yeah.
calm down sometimes.
A little rubber earlobes.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part of a portion of this is because there's a percentage of people that should not be buying things online. Like
There are
should
some.
not.
Yeah.
There's some. There, it's 2%, 5%, whatever. It's like you need authentic face-to-face help because there's a lot of stuff that we can't answer or fix without you in front of us. Like it's too difficult.
Yeah.
And there's a percentage of people that try to do stuff online that really shouldn't be doing it online. If you're somewhat resourceful and mechanical, it's fine. But if you're zero experience, zero knowledge,
the growth, that with
And that's why like in-person archery shops are never going to go anywhere because
I don't think so.
they never will. There will always be a need for that because it's such an intimate thing that like knowledge of you need people. You need people to help you with your bow. You need people to help you make decisions with buying stuff. It's good to see sights in person. It's good to see rests in person, like all that stuff. There'll always be a need for in-person.
It's kind of like all that new Swarovski stuff we got. You got to see it in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we're selling a spot and scope right now. Derek was down there playing with them.
I was out there and I was joking with him. I go, "Hey, you want to be able to see a vision?"
Yeah. Yeah. And, I was like, hey, does the fish and game department need like 6 pairs of these things?
Yeah.
Big guy can work a contract.
Yeah, had a boy.
Doug, being a glass guy, because you're a glass guy, long range guy, what do you think about Swarovski?
I mean, I never say anything's the best. I will say for me, I think it's the best to my eyes. Let's say
Really?
that way. I've been running Night Force. I've ran Vortex scopes. I've had all sorts of binos. Been borrowing some of Josh's Leicas and whatnot for a while. And I got to say, the Swaros, those new ones, I picked up the new the EL range ones, the 10 power. And wow, they're amazing. So real amazing.
Did you get that nice orange color?
I did not.
I like
know
that.
it'd match my hair.
You
but-
would
I like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
I do like
so-
it.
God,
yeah.
you would like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, especially if you misplace it on a mountainside.
Yeah, and you are forgetful and lay crap down
Boy.
and forget about it. So you should definitely have orange
That'd
ones.
be a big brain fart.
Oh,
but,
that's a
Yeah.
$4,000 brain
Yeah.
fart. That's
Yeah.
not cool.
No.
You know, binos wise though, yeah. I mean, bar none glass, golly, they're amazing, just amazing. But I don't think you can go wrong, you know, with either Leica too. But there's just feature function benefits of either. So I went with Swaros just for the fact, just my goodness, when you look through them, it's just amazing. That's all I can say.
They're comfortable and pleasing.
Yeah.
They really are. And that's part of why I thought we would be a logical place to have it, because you can go outside and look in nature. Mm-hmm. You can take them out, pick them up, walk outside, glass, look at stuff, check things out, where you can't really do that in most places.
And I went out, you
made
know,
a
my
lot
big
of
thing was
sense.
the rangefinder. I've been running, you know, binos and a separate rangefinder for years, which was just kind of the normal. And nowadays, more and more, you know, companies are making
That's
them
going to
with
be keep happening. Yeah.
It is, and my big thing was making sure my data lined up, you know. And I went out, and I mean, just messing with it very little. I got it to line up within a tenth, clear out to a mile.
Wow.
So I was like, meh, that's pretty good. A little tweaking, you know, I'll have
That's
it.
pretty good.
So basically, you range something, and it spits out a number. You dial your scope.
Yeah, for those of you that don't quite understand what that means, he's got an app on his phone with his data that links up to the rangefinder. So when you're using a rifle scope where you're adjusting a turret, you click a button, it tells you what to do, and you turn it. Eliminates the confusion.
Most guys run what they call a kestrel for what we call getting data or rifle dope, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they called it dope. Now more people call it data. It's kind of funny. I hear old timers say, I need some rifle dope.
Yeah.
You need what?
Yeah.
And,
We're talking about different things. I
yeah,
think.
what you talking about, Willis? Yeah, so,
We are in Washington. Dope means something very different.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, the cloud over the gate. I wish I'd have got in on that years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Be a baller.
I'll tell you, as good as those binos are, I got to watch where I take a leak around here now.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
very true.
Yeah, they'll see small things. Sorry.
You walked
Bada
in.
bing.
You walked into it.
Bada
man.
bing, yeah.
Walked into
I
it.
set them up. I teed them up.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with them.
That's cool.
You know, I've been running a Kestrel for years. It gives you your data because it has all the barometrics and all that, and gets you just real time. You can put your wind in there, and yeah, that was my big thing, just making sure my data lined up to it. So for shooting matches and stuff, there's and hunting. I mean, it's pretty slick. I mean, you push the button and bam, spits out a number and get down and shoot. And then the other cool part is for hunting, I think, is the tracking in it. I mean, that's just, it's a nifty little, just doing it here, pinging the buildings over there and stuff, and then you upload and it shows you right where you are and it shows right where the laser hits. So like if you shot
Really?
an,
Yes.
you know, if you're up in the mountains and the canyons or something and you shoot, you know, deer and elk or bear.
Is that through an app or something?
Yeah, it's on their Swarovski. That's how you actually have to set up the binos. You can actually set them up through the menu, but it's way easier on their app. You can just go in and set it up and link it right to it because they're Bluetooth. So
That could be sick. So you're glassing a bear in Idaho. You pull it up, you ping something, and then you can see in the app.
So you can see in the app where that laser shot, where you got your range. So
Okay.
if you're ranging the bear, you know, obviously if it's something you're going to shoot, you lay down, shoot it. You know, you hit it, it's thick stuff. Okay, you got to walk down the canyon, you know, 300 yards here, come up 300 yards. And then you're
It's always a problem.
Yeah, and you're like,
Huge
where,
problem.
you're like,
Relocating
where
is
was
tough.
I?
It
You
never
know?
looks the same. It always looks way different when you get there.
The app will, you know, I mean, yes, even if the bear runs, it'll at least go to where you shot it.
Yeah.
And then you can use the app, and it pulls up like a Google Maps.
Well,
and
that's
it just,
sick.
It just takes you right to it.
So the way
I
I
thought
would-
it was pretty cool.
The way I would do that right now that's a little less precise is use like Onyx.
Onyx, and try
Yeah.
to draw a line.
Draw a line.
Get the
Yeah.
distance of where you are. Think
Yep.
it's about there.
And that'll get you close, but if it could get you closer, that would be sick because it always looks
so
different.
at least gets you within a radius of where the shot
Yeah.
was, you know, and then you can go over there and either, you know, look for blood or, you know, even if you dumped him right there and you go up. I mean, I've been horn hunting for, you know, out looking for sheds for years, and, you know, you glass one on a canyon on the other side and you cross the canyon and you come up and you're like, I think it was right here, but you're 100
Yeah.
yards off.
You never know.
So
Yeah, you're pretty
Yeah.
convinced when you take off of where it is and you get there, and it's a different thing
Yeah.
altogether.
But the big thing with Swaro has always been their glass. You know, now with glass and a good rangefinder in it, that's what sold me. So,
yeah. Well, and I'll be changing mine out because I have an older Leica that I used for rifle hunting, and I'll be changing that to the Swaro. I have a pair of 1042 ELs, and then my dad's 742s.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
The 742s I use for tree stand ground blind. The 1042s were just everything else running around chasing stuff. But man, that rangefinder setup's sweet. Like it's way better than the one that was in my Leica.
Yeah, it's fast.
Does it do?
It's super fast.
Will it do the data processing for different calibers too?
Yeah, you can put up 3 rifle profiles into it.
That's sweet.
So
Yeah, because I do that right now. I actually have 2 rangefinders because one of my rangefinders has one will do it, one won't.
multiple
So-
profiles. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have I can pull up my MOAs and stuff with my rangefinder, which is pretty cool. And I'm sure it's less precise than whatever program you would use, but it's pretty good out to most shootable distances, 400, 500, 600, 700 yards.
You know,
yeah.
most ethical hunters, I mean, we're going to get as close as we can.
Yeah.
None of us want to be chasing an animal. So
No, and it's part of the fun, right? Getting close.
it is. That's the cool part, get close. But that's a nice thing of a good precision rifle is, if you can get within 500 yards, things should be dead pretty quick. So, yeah, on that.
How much, this is my curiosity, say we're at 500 yards and we got a 20-mile-an-hour crosswind. How much would it move a bullet? I know it depends on the bullet, right?
Yeah, it depends on the bullet and the weight. The average...
say like a standard 308 bullet.
Ooh, let's not talk 308.
Oh, why?
Yeah, because it just doesn't do well in the wind.
Yeah.
Poor little guy.
Yeah.
No, 308 is an amazing cartridge, but let's talk a true hunting, like 300 Win or something like that.
Okay.
Pretty much you can take about any good big hunting caliber, and elevation wise, you're going to be anywhere from probably about 2.2 to 2.4 mils at 500. And then with wind, guessing I'd have to look at my ballistics because it changes that a lot. But 20 mile an hour at 500, you're probably going to be holding a solid, a mil at least. So with that, inches wise, I don't really.
You think in mils?
I do everything in mils.
Yeah.
And I don't really look at, try to calculate inches or anything like that because I look at what my reticle shows me on the target. So,
Yes.
And in my reticle, I have 2/10 mil hash marks, so it gives me a pretty fine-tuned hold mark. And even when I miss a target, it gives me a great to where I can measure my miss and then just rehold and get right back on target. So on that. But yes, a 20 mile an hour crosswind, that is the biggest thing. Everybody, it's pretty easy to get data dialed on a gun and shoot out to 1,000 yards. It's a lot harder to master wind.
Yeah, that's a lot of the skill, right?
Wind is all about the skill.
Wind
and
in
being
a
able to
canyon
read.
too, and different thermals, and being able to read winds. Like wind is so fickle in the mountains.
And it is, and and that's just it. Growing up out on the farm, I've done a lot of, our rolling hill shooting, but not a lot of canyon shooting. And canyon shooting, where, different thermals, different winds, that is where good glass comes into play. I had a guy, Scott Satterley, he always used to tell me, you can't shoot what you can't see.
Fact.
Well, that's true.
Fact.
And with the right optics and stuff, that's where you got to look at grasses, trees, leaves, anything like that to give you any good indication
Of movement.
and then in the end, send it with a little Jesus and call it good.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you start working on that old Camaro of yours?
God, 6 years ago I bought it. 5 years ago?
I don't know. It seems like
well,
it's been
it went
a
a
while.
lot faster than I was planning. So it was just one of those, I don't know, I got diving into it, then I just couldn't stop. And, after 3 motors, taking in and out, my wife, she just leaves me alone, lets me do my thing.
That's like your happy place right now, wrenching on that thing.
Yeah, I've always been a motorhead guy. My brother really messed it up for me when we were younger. He bought it himself, but it was a 1981 Pace Car Edition Trans Am.
Oh, yeah, I remember
It was sweet, dude. Anyway, needless to say, he got a couple of negligent driving tickets in it. Dad took it from him, put it in the garage, and Dad was smart. He goes, it's going to be worth something someday, so he's going to hang on to it. Well, it sat in there for a year, and my brother and I were always very convincing to try to get what we wanted.
Persuasive.
It was the senior sneak for his senior year.
Oh,
And
no.
anyway, there was a big party, and I wasn't supposed to be there. Long story short, I got found out. I was there a month later, then got grounded for a month, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I was in the back seat when it all happened, and we went out for a real high-speed run after way too many drinks and made about 3 corners. And I don't know, hit a 35-mile-an-hour corner doing about $120 and shot. Luckily, my brother was a good enough driver. He knew he wasn't going to make it, so he pointed the car straight, so we at least went off front nose first. And, man, we got lucky. I mean, well, kind of. We hit a big drainage ditch when we came down. It literally tweaked the car, blew every piece of glass out of it. I mean, it was insane.
What was this car worth in 1981?
He paid $6,000 for it. You know, right now, if it only had 16,000 miles on it. So if Dad would have kept it, it probably had maybe 20,000 and under. I mean, it'd be worth probably 30, 40 grand right now, maybe, you know, with the market the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway. Geez, when it all stopped and the dust settled, luckily everyone was alive, all 4 of us that were in there. And anyway, get the K-cups out, and one guy had like some glass cuts and had to go get a stitch.
Wow.
And we all walked away. Yeah, stupid hillbillies.
Life on the Palouse growing up, huh?
Yeah, so anyway, when I wanted a Camaro or a sports car, my dad said, nope. When he said, when you get older, you can buy what you want. So I did.
So you did.
So
Yeah.
actually, my wife was the one. I wanted to buy a Razor, and she's like, well, where are you going to ride it? And I was like, well, that's a good question. You know, down at the farm, but then she's like, well, you got to drive down there to get it. And every time I would go buy a muscle car, I'd kind of touch myself a little. And anyway, she was the one that actually said, well, why don't you buy an old muscle car? And I was like, really? And that's kind of how it started. So, and she...
What year is it?
It's a 77.
77.
Yeah, and I bought it he was the second owner. He bought it with 12,000 miles on it. So it was a good shell. It was a great starting shell. It was just like an LT version, and I knew I was going to chop it up and do weird stuff to it. So anyway, I didn't really care about the
Authenticity.
Yeah, that's it. And so I made it kind of what they call pro touring is what they call it. Put all racing suspension on it, beefed everything up, built the nuts out of the motor, put a 408 LS stroker in it, bunch of other goodies, just tricked it out, did my personal touch to it. And yeah, wife and I love driving it around. So
It's naughty.
yeah. Well, you saw it the other day. So
Well, there's an old wives' tale in my family or whatever. I was supposed to get a 1967 Camaro.
those first gens, yeah, it's badass.
Yeah. So I was supposed to get that when I turned 16 or 18. Oh. And then we blew a rod in the motor or something. And it just didn't get fixed.
And back then they weren't worth.
Yeah.
No wonder.
And so it's just since been delayed where I still don't have a 1967 Camaro. But
Is it still in the family?
yeah, it's still in the
okay,
family.
that's good news.
So supposedly coming my way is a Camaro at some point. So Doug, I mean, maybe we gotta plan that build. But it was a sweet car. I mean, my faint memory of it is like I was young when we were in it, 12, 13 years old, and it was 4-speed.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple gears, you couldn't change gears without it like peeling rubber.
Yeah.
It had a
Do
390.
you know if it had a big block?
It had
in
a built-out 396
Okay.
with like a sweet
So is it a factory like
a rear
RSSS
end that was
or-
like all hopped up for like quarter-mile stuff.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Had that low-end power or whatever.
Oh yeah, low end low
Yeah,
gears.
but supposedly that's coming.
There you go.
I'm not like holding my breath, but
Well, the beauty is clear from the 60s, clear till, I think the 2000s, GM wiring used the same color coding for most things.
and the
so
next
no
truck
problem.
I want to get is an old truck. I want to get like a 70s truck or late 60s and do like, I want to crank my windows up and down. I'm not buying another new truck.
You can come
my
right
next
around
truck
with
is an
Camaro
old
with
truck.
me. You
You
got to
just
crank
get
them
my
up.
Yoda. It's got crank
Yeah.
windows.
Yeah, I want to crank them up and down, and yeah. This truck-
And that's just it has crank windows on
Yeah,
it and stuff.
I'm
And
into
I
it.
mean, yeah, it's just it's one less thing to break.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You can still break the handle off.
Oh, you can,
Yeah,
yes.
I
you
broke
can.
my passenger one on my
I think your
Yoda. I gotta
dog
replace
farted.
So
I told him something's creeping.
I don't know.
we got a technical difficulty.
Yeah.
Hey, you do anything over there?
Your eyes
or
burning?
what?
Podcast,
Yeah, I was
podcast
like
isn't
going,
the same
wait a
without
sec.
having a dog or two here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a dog or two floating around.
I know, just
So how often do you drive that now? You drive it to and from work, right? A little bit.
Oh, once in a while.
Yeah.
Usually go get groceries, go to
Yeah.
the store, just an excuse to drive it. So, it's one of those. It's I don't know. I drive it when I need to. I was going to drive to work this morning, but then I just didn't.
You have more fun working on it or driving it?
You know, I do enjoy turning wrenches.
Yeah.
I and my wife works. She's got a pretty demanding job, and she's back doing her master's degree now. So she's pretty busy. So actually, it was like keeping me in the garage was good. So she didn't be yelling at me, "Be quiet." And I've always been a busy guy.
That just hit me.
Told you.
Like a waft coming.
I know.
Yeah, it's coming, Tim.
Come on, man. Wake up.
Maybe it's those frozen bear treats you got.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. That was a bad idea.
Yeah. Doug's eyes are watering.
I know. Woo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work through it.
Yeah. What the heck were
So
we
you drive
talking?
it a little bit. You
I
drive
don't know.
it
It's hard to
from
stay
work.
focused now.
Oh yeah, God
Yeah.
dang! I know. I was like, Jesus, dog.
When are we going for riding it?
Well, if you would have got off the phone the other day, I'd have given you a ride in.
Yeah.
But you were talking too much. I had to go.
I know. I was talking to Brandon McDonald.
Oh, old Brandon.
Oh, Brandon.
Brandon
Yeah.
McDonald.
Brandon
So-
says he might be my cameraman for Nevada.
Oh, yeah?
I drew Nevada, yeah.
That's awesome.
Did I tell you I drew Nevada?
You did tell me you drew Nevada. That's
Why
cool.
do people keep that a secret? I was thinking about
I have
that.
no idea.
Because, a lot of the big hunter types.
Maybe they don't want to tell people or acknowledge that they have it in case they're not successful, so they don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know
Feel
what it is.
like
'Cause
failure?
Feel like
I
failure,
keep thinking
yeah.
about, should
think
I
a
be
drawing
telling
on the
people or
failure.
not? All these people don't tell. I'm like, whatever. I drew Nevada. I drew Nevada.
That's what the big deal is.
Nevada mule deer.
I didn't draw anything.
What kind of.
So there you go.
I know. We might get lucky and draw those antelope.
Yeah, you
tags.
still have that one in
I'm gonna go
Wyoming.
smoke
Right?
some speed goats with
Yeah.
my.
You're going to go to Speed
Well,
Goat
he's got to
Scout?
draw. He's
Well,
got to
if I
draw
get
first.
on,
It's auto draw, right?
No, that's Idaho. He did him and
We did
Forrest did
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
Wyoming would be amazing.
well, I've been up there a bunch shooting
Rifle?
that Night Force ELR match. So I've been scoping out some state lands and stuff while I was up there. A place
Dude,
we'll
you'll
be able to-
find there's goats everywhere in Wyoming.
Oh, there was. Yeah, when we were out shooting prairie dogs, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's one dead on the side of the road, like every quarter mile.
Oh
in there.
yeah, once you start hitting Wyoming, they're everywhere.
Have you ever done a
Think
big
it's
hunt with
cluster.
Doug?
No,
God, could you imagine doing
Well,
a
we're going to.
Wyoming
we're
Yeah.
going to.
What are you guys doing?
I'm taking him with me to Matthew's lease in Minnesota or something.
Yeah,
I don't remember where it is. They have some lease ground that they called me and said I'm invited and I can take one employee with me.
Matthew's Bows.
Matthew's Archery.
So business is good.
Business is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, you can come hunt this thing? Archery?
Yeah. Yeah, and end October.
That means you got to shoot a bow, Doug.
I've been
it's
touching
almost
mine.
here.
Oh, okay.
It's almost here.
All right.
They're sending
Yeah.
him a Phase 4
Yeah.
to use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll have to.
Speaking of Phase
Matthews for
4s,
that.
I got a Phase 4.
You do? When's the last time you shot it?
Not that recent, but I think I have a better plan for it.
Oh,
I think
do
I
you?
want to pass it forward. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Do something cool for I'm going to do something cool for one of the first 100 people that use that discount code.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to do something cool for one of the subscribers, probably simultaneously.
Cool.
Yeah. Hopefully that. Yeah. So,
That's cool.
Plan something for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Heck
he's
yeah.
actually got to start shooting a bow again with some regularity. 'cause,
When did
you
this
know-
come about?
Well, it's funny. A little side note. So traditionally, if you own a shop and you sell particular brands, they almost always send you something around Christmas time.
Yeah, they should.
As a Christmas present,
Yeah.
and they usually get like a thing of nuts or of like
These
glass
nuts.
not those kind of nuts, like seasonal
to fondle?
holiday nuts, or like a set of glass cups or something. I think my Bowtech
Yeah.
rep sent me like these Bowtech glasses that had like the rock ice or whatnot. They,
Oh, yeah,
they
those
don't
are
melt,
cool.
but they still get cold for like whiskey or whatnot.
You hear that, Bowtech? Time to step it up, guys.
Well, no, that was a nice gift.
Yeah.
But usually I get them, and
It's
I
not
got
a hunting lease.
I got a card from Matthews, and I called my sales rep, and I was like, "What are you cheap fucks doing over there?" It's like, you gave me a card. Where's my Christmas present? Just we're close. We have fun. He's actually hunting with us. Evan is.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
he'll be part of that. And he's like, just wait. I promise. I got something coming for you. And then I felt
nice.
really bad when he said, "So do you want to go hunting?" Like, "Meh? Really?
Minnesota, that's some of those big old.
Yeah, I think it's in Minnesota. It's their private lease. Like
No,
I'm
Jacked.
Matthews
jacked.
owns
I mean,
it.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
something good. So,
Big
but
bucks.
he's already killed a
Big
bigger
body
whitetail
bucks.
than I ever did. So I almost thought about not inviting him because I
Big
was like,
body
this
bucks.
is not fair.
Yeah.
Doug could be the kind of guy that roll up in there and stroke one. Like,
That's exactly what happened last
Yeah.
time.
Dude, I've been so lucky hunting over the years. Like the luckiest person ever.
hey, good things
So,
happen to good
Well,
people.
if I was an animal and I had to die, I'd rather it be you that shot me.
Well, thank you. I mean, like that last big whitetail. I mean, I went and put some.
Doug, what's going on here? You have a pronghorn hunt, possibly. Didn't you just say
Yeah,
Wyoming?
yeah.
Possible.
If he draws,
Yeah.
A whitetail hunt. What else are you going to do this year, Doug?
Well, actually, I'm leaving to Wyoming. Actually, go shoot that Night Force ELR match here in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
heading
Nice.
up there.
Yeah.
So I'll be gone for a few days. Other than that, I mean, I'll hunt this fall. Just on our
Will you?
home place. So,
Cool.
and I haven't decided if I'm gonna rifle hunt or because man, I've been seeing some good bucks around there this last year and stuff. And but I don't know. I mean, it depends on what I see because I'm down there a lot, so I'll be watching. If I see good bucks in the early season, then I'll probably go bow hunting and stuff after them. But depends because I built a new hunting gun, so I want to kill something with it. So
Did you? I didn't ask you. Is your family still doing that? Like where they lease the land or anything? Is that done?
Where Washington did all that hunt by reservation stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the
No,
originals
they
in
got
there for a
down.
while.
The first year they were paying $5 an acre, and so for Dad, that was great. And I could still hunt it too,
Yeah.
and whatnot. I was just always kind. I wouldn't go hunt when someone else was hunting,
Sure.
Well, then they took it down to like $3 an acre, and then they went down to $1 an acre.
Cheap bastards.
Yeah, and Dad. Well, the problem was the way they did it. I don't know.
I can only imagine what the Washington
They kind of blew
politics would
they
be
blew
like,
their
you know what I mean?
wad the first couple of years. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way, and didn't think it through of how long is this sustainable. And anyway, so Dad took it all out because it just wasn't worth it. On that, we still have that one little chunk, that 77 acres. It's a pheasant preserve, which is huntable to the public and all that stuff. And that's where they do pheasant releases every year there, and they have a youth hunt out there and stuff, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
And so he still gets a little tiny money off of that. But it was one of those, it was a chunk of property that flooded out every year and it was hard to farm anyway. So let it grow. We seeded grass in there. My God, it grew like 10 feet tall out there, So the pheasants, they have every advantage because, they're just so tall out there, no one hardly ever shoots them because they run.
They run
just
instead of
from
fly.
you, so
Yeah. They
it's
run
like,
safely.
They got to
Smart.
figure it out. They got to
They're
figure it out.
smart. Yeah.
But no, I'm excited I'm really excited for the bow hunt. So just because I haven't bow hunted for quite a few years, I shot that great big whitetail up there 2 years ago, and man, haven't hunted since.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just kind of like that was.
How big was that whitetail, by the way?
I never had it officially. I mean, I scored it. Green score, he went over 170. So I never scored him after he shrank. Probably 165 at least. So
Doug, you see that vicious beast on the couch?
I do.
He's got some bird skills.
I see
Believe
that.
it or not.
I see
A little
that.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, if he
Not
doesn't
right
gas
now,
him
he
out
don't.
first.
Now we don't.
he got some stink skills.
Yeah. That's how I got to know that area out there a little bit around you. Is we stomped around bird hunting a lot. It's something I used to love doing. I still love doing it. I just, I live a little further away now, and it's a bigger day for me to drive out there. And yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good state land down there where you
Yeah.
go tromps all day, wear yourself out
Yeah.
stuff. So, and if you got a good dog,
Yeah, we
you
would
can
get a
usually-
couple pheasants a day, sometimes limit out. I mean, we did pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And out there, you got to have a good dog.
Yeah.
Good dog. I mean, just, yeah. It's 100% better if you got a dog. So, plus
No
you got
doubt.
someone to talk to.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have to chase some muleys around in September on. But
Yeah, have to see what's out there
early
and stuff.
I'll be hunting elk later, but
Yeah, because that's just it. Usually, if there's good muleys out there, it's usually the first couple of weeks. So,
yeah.
and that's why I got into bow hunting. Was I used to see
Good
them
time to hunt
all
mule deer.
in the early season, and then come October, there'd always be a few bucks, but just not the bucks that we would see in September
Gotcha.
and stuff. And we have alfalfa out there and stuff too, so that helps a little bit. Sheesh, and I found in the last 3 years, 2 nice horns over at the range, from bucks dropping them. And I'm like,
Suicidal deer.
where is
Yeah.
this? I mean, they come through at night
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Well, I
yeah.
remember a couple times down there, I'd see him walking off on the side. I'm like, they're slinging lead, and you're walking so,
Oh yeah, we've
so
been
close to the line of
shooting
fire.
before, and the does got it figured out. They just walk in between targets. They're smart. So they still use. I mean, I have a lot of members like, yeah, there was deer out there, and they didn't do anything, and now they're used to it. But when you're down range and the way the bullet cracks and strikes, it's way different than what you're hearing. When you're down range, at 500 to 800 yards, all you hear is just a crack, and then if the bullet comes by you, you hear that, which is kind of cool sounding, but so the deer, I think they get used to it, don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, if it's not registering as a threat at a certain point, I imagine they ignore it.
Yeah, like a close, 100-yard boom where they hear it a lot.
It's just like deer that live in town aren't really scared of people.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
Doug,
just around them all the time.
you got You got an OnlyFans or anything you want to plug or any of that stuff?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Where people can find you, follow your rifle
Hey,
adventures.
don't you have a
behind the
Facebook account for
scenes.
your car or something?
Yeah, I got an Instagram one.
Instagram for your car.
Yeah, just for my
Don't
car.
you have a Facebook group?
So,
Yeah.
I know. I don't get on social media. I use it to promote, my matches and stuff and whatnot.
Other than that, it's the devil.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, my wife catches me looking at boobies on Instagram once in a while.
I have no idea how that got there.
Yeah.
It showed up.
Speaking
It was
of
just
that,
on my feed, I swear.
Forrest told me he's now a fan of golf Instagram.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, why is that?
Oh, you know why that is.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, go scroll golf Instagram sometime.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure. Imagine.
Is it all girls in short skirts slamming golf balls?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh,
Low cut tops, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't
Forrest
look
does
at-
like boobies.
make sure you don't mistype it of balls and skirts.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. Fire's out.
That's it.
That's it.
Good times.
Thanks for coming, Doug.
See, I told you it'd be painless.
God, that went quick.
It does. It's like
Holy shit.
What does Joe Rogan say? He says it's like a time machine.
Yeah.
It's like then they're 3 hours. That's crazy. But that was over an hour.
That part was fucking epic, dude. Jesus. I thought I heard this. I swear I heard it.
That was a heater.
And then I was like, also sabotage.